How do you ensure that items in the backlog are well understood? Well, as a Scrum Master, technically not your job. You're not involved in the delivery of a product. You're involved in the creation of an environment where the product owner and the developers can do a great job. But you probably do want to be involved in this, at least to some extent, ensuring that as a team they understand what on earth it is they're trying to achieve. Okay, so you're not going to drive this conversation, but you are a very interested party. Okay? So the key here is product backlog refinement. Absolutely, that is where we share understanding about what the need is, the problem is, the feature is, the work that the developers are going to need to do between them and the product owner, or the customers and the stakeholders and whoever else makes sense to be in that conversation. Okay, so we aren't actively involved. We're not going to be there, asking questions about why do you want that and what about this and how does it, align with what you were talking about over there. No, that's not your job. Okay, your job is to ensure that conversation does happen. Okay, so the way that we help the team have good items on the backlog, clear, concise items, is to help them ask good questions, help them have great conversations. Okay, so we're going to convene a meeting. Let's be honest, that's the way we do a lot of this stuff, particularly in the early days of a team where they need to learn. Okay, nothing wrong with learning, we all do it. So we're going to bring the team together, okay, and we are going to facilitate that conversation. So we are likely going to ask some starting questions, things like, okay, what's most important? Okay, why is that most important? First few times around, you may be kicking off that conversation, helping them find their feet, but you want the developers to really quickly take over those first questions. So they can ask, okay, we can see this is top of the list. Why is it there? What is it about that that's important? Okay. And from there, there's going to be a natural flow of questions. You've got a group of people who are by their very nature intelligent and inquisitive. They're going to start asking questions to understand better what the need is. As a Scrum Master, we are likely going to steer them away from trying to solutionize, trying to understand the solution, because we haven't yet decided we're doing the work. There will be, I'll be honest, some conversation about how do we solve this problem, because we've got a bunch of problem solvers in the room. Okay, but what we try and do is just nudge them away from it, just guide them back to talking about the opportunity space. Okay? And this is what we're going to keep doing time and time again so that they understand it. Now, to get that written down in a clear and concise way is difficult, because we're talking about potentially 6, maybe 7, maybe more conversations, and you can't distill that down on its own. So when I work with product owners, and I'm business analysts as well, and I'm coming across more and more people who think their job is to write lots and lots of stuff. No. What instead I'm advising is, when that idea first comes to mind, write down, either on an index card or in the electronic tool of your choice, a few words. And I do mean a few, 3, 4, maybe 5. I'll let you have 6 at a push. Words. Enough for you to recall what that thought was, what that need was. But not enough that anybody else has an idea. Okay? Because the purpose of a user story and product backlog items in general is really to share understanding within the team. The whole role of refinement is to ensure that the team understand what they're going after. Okay? And by writing not enough down, you are going to cause conversations. People are going to be asking you, what on earth do you mean by that? Okay? And you, or your product owner, or your customer, are going to explain it. Simple as that. Because it's enough there for you to remember what we're talking about, so you're going to start articulating, well, I was thinking about this and how the user uses that and wherever it goes. And you're in a conversation. Great. And that refinement conversation is now happening, and you as a Scrum Master are, I'm sorry if I'm jumping between roles, but it's clear in my head, you as a Scrum Master are happy because they're having that conversation. The next step is, how do we get a clear and concise item on the backlog? Well, somebody wrote it. They put a few words down that was enough to start this conversation, As part of that, what I would be saying is, at the end of the conversation, okay, collectively, rewrite it, write it again. What do you need to understand for you as a team to recall this item? Okay. It can be written as a user story, it can be written as whatever you want, it can just be a bug. Okay, but collectively, as a team, how will you remember what this is about? Okay? Because now it's in everybody's head, and you can hear what people think and say, and write that down. No one person has to be right. We work in a collaborative way. Why not, when we're writing backlog items and we want them to be clear, we make sure they're clear to everybody and they're concise by collectively writing something that we all agree to. It doesn't have to be grand prose, it doesn't have to be impressive, it just has to remind everybody about the conversation. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.